Hello, hello, hello. It's nice to see some familiar faces here today. Kind of, sort of faces. Hello, Astrid. How are you doing?
Good, good. I can't believe this is already the last session of
I was
this
just
series.
thinking that. Yeah,
Where did the time go?
I don't get it. I was looking at it. I had like the 21. I'm like, 21 days. How did this happen? Crazy.
Well, I'm definitely not finished, but I did get started, so that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Sometimes that's the hardest thing. Do you find that?
Um, yeah, well, it's just you just need to kind of figure out how everything works. I haven't made any adjustments to Stripe and all that, the whole setup of
Mhm.
on that side. But yeah, figuring out the tool, playing with it, and being motivated, seeing what other people are doing, really helps along the way, in my opinion.
For sure. For sure. And then you just have to get in there and play. I made myself do that yesterday. I made myself go in and start to Victoria's laughing because she got like the SOS. Stand by. She told me to get on support if I needed anything to email my support questions in. So if you're joining now, I see Jamie changed her name, so thank you for that. If you're joining in and you've joined through that link, it's going to say my name, so feel free to change your name. Trish, thank you for changing your name. I know it's you guys, but it's still nice to not look up and see my own name all of these times, so that's great. Um, it must be getting on to here we are, 3 o'clock already. So let's do some celebrating as we get started. Let's do some celebrating, and then we've got a fun game that we're going to play. And don't worry, it's not like one of those like bridal shower games that we used to play back in the day at all. It's like actually a cool thing that we're going to do for online that then Lara is going to take and make a reel out of. I don't think she knows that yet, but we did talk about it a while ago, so I'm sure she'll be up for the task. And then we're going to do our affirmations. I remember the affirmations, and then we will get into the marketing piece. Okay. So, what are you celebrating over the last 21 days? What would you love to celebrate? What have you gotten accomplished? You can put in the chat, you can unmute, whatever you would like. Danielle looks like she's itching to say something. No, you just had like bursting.
No, I'm in a lots of good energy today. It was our call, by the way, thank you, Vicky, in particular call on Tuesday. You gave me really great insights and I appreciate them. So now I'm very lit up. My
Oh, good.
generator sacral's lit up. So thank you.
Good. You look lit up. That's why I was like, oh, she must be going to say something. Yes. It is so nice to be satisfied as a generator type, isn't it? Like, it is so cool. I love it when clients as well message and say, I don't know what it is, but I just feel so satisfied. And I'm like, yes, 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 yes. Yeah. I started my website, Lori's saying, oh yeah, I should be looking at the chat. Anybody else want to unmute and talk to us about what's going on? Go ahead, Trish. Yeah.
Hi. So I'm feeling good that I've gotten a lot of things done, and I feel like I'm the world's biggest procrastinator and I don't organize and things are all over the place and I'm doing like a whole bunch of little things. But I got into the new chart and I created a travel specific report, and it's almost finished, but I have my other reports everything's already for sale on my website. And another thing I did, which doesn't pertain, but kind of pertains, is I've created a video because I want to speak on cruise ships about human design. So it's been really hard for me to record myself talking about me, talking about my speaking experience or lack thereof, um, and human design, all in like a 2.5 minute, 3 minute clip. But I have a virtual assistant working on me, and we've been putting together slides and stuff, and she's gonna like, you know, put the slides over my face when I look silly, and hopefully it'll work out. But I'm super excited about the marketing because now I feel like I have all this stuff in my basket and nobody wants it. And so I'm starting to feel really stressed because I've been doing like a few little Instagram things here and there. And I know like, you know, maybe one thing. All my friends like it, but nobody's buying anything. So I'm really, 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 really looking forward today because I need, I hate to say need, but I am ready to start making big money so I can sustain the life I've become accustomed to. How's that?
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Yes. Amazing.
Thank
I
you.
love your the niche that you've carved out for yourself too. That is so cool.
Thanks. Yeah, the thing is, the cruise ship thing, it's not a paid gig. It'll be free cruising, but my plan is to get more people involved with human design. Like I think I mentioned this before, and you know, get clients or customers. I'd rather have customers for my blueprints than actual reading clients. I'll do reading clients too, but it just, you know, that takes so much more of my energy.
Yeah.
And I could probably do maybe one a day.
Yeah. And so it's like your cruise ship experience will be the ultimate lead magnet for your business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's cool. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Trish, can I respond to that? I
Yes,
think
please.
I actually made human design history in December, crossing the ocean on a cruise ship, doing a conference for digital nomads, giving a human design embodiment workshop on the pirate deck of the kids' play area because we couldn't find any other place to have a space that long to do an embodiment workshop. So it is, yeah, if you're talking
Awesome.
about cruising.
Awesome. Well, you'll have to like DM me because I need to get my foot in the door somehow, and I haven't figured that part out yet. So I've paid for cruises and I've attended their workshops, but I don't really know exactly how to get in there and give the workshops myself.
Yeah, it's an
Thank you.
organization that runs conferences on cruises, and I actually thought, how cool would it be if we would ever do a human design cruise with all these people, right?
Right, right. I'm
But
actually going on an astrology cruise in June. So, I mean, and I know she does human design. So I'm going to talk to her and see, who knows, maybe there's a future we can all go on a cruise and together and do some human design stuff.
Definitely. I
So
think
you guys can all at least come to Colorado to the International Human Design Conference that I'm presenting at in Colorado Springs in September.
Oh, put the info in the chat.
Yeah, okay, I will.
I want to go,
Awesome.
but my son has the nerve to be getting married that weekend. If you could
You know,
imagine.
I actually looked at the lineup and I'm like, why is Vicki Dixon not on this? Because of all the business stuff they're doing on the day before.
Well,
But
that's
yeah,
where I will
that's
be. I'll
that's
be
a good excuse.
hanging out at a garden wedding. Okay, back on track. Anybody else have a something you want to celebrate while we're here? And I will read the ones in the chat quickly as well, but I just
Ooh.
want to give you the chance. Go ahead, Kathy.
I will. I finished my first actual like paid report that I have completely written myself, and it's just a small and I shouldn't say just, it is geared for people who are wanting to understand where the information comes from in the chart. So it's making sense of your chart.
Mhm.
And it's just a very simple, I was tempted to make it a freebie, but I kept hearing Vicki say, get people used to paying you.
Yes.
So I have put it out there to the universe that people are going to pay me this. And I really am very proud of it. I've had a few people say that, you know, that I've asked to proofread it or look at it or whatever, say that it's very, very good. And now I'm going back to the big giant Mac Daddy one that I'm still building and whatever. But so it's so that you can look at it and say, oh, so it's got just some little things that like with short codes that say, you know, your type is a manifesting generator. These are the different types. And each time, and it tells you like you're a manifesting generator because you have a defined motor and a defined throat. And so it's kind of like the mechanics, understanding the mechanics.
Mhm.
So
That's amazing.
here we go. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Yes. And I love that you're putting it out to the universe for that you're open to people paying you for it. That's amazing. Way to go. Danielle.
Okay, so I didn't mention this when I talked earlier, but I do audio readings where I read charts through an audio voice app, and I had one yesterday, and her very first reply when I started actually I do all the audios at once, was a perfect testimonial. She's agreed to let me use it, where she's like, I've never felt so seen. This is amazing. You're so good. I have this perfect testimonial that she's agreed to let me use of her voice saying how great and transformative my audio readings were. So, and that's not even with me asking for an official testimonial yet. So I am super excited and I'm celebrating that.
Yes, those are the best kind of testimonials. I love that. So just a little tip when you are doing readings or audios like Danielle's doing, anything like that. So I would love for you to become a testimonial gathering machine, because people are going to say nice things about your work all the freaking time. They're going to tell you what a difference it made. They're going to say, I feel seen. I mean, you know how it feels when someone recognizes your design and sees something in you, right? So, get really good at clipping out little pieces of video when people are on readings and asking them afterwards, because I find at the end of a reading, people are always like, oh my God, and they start to talk about all the good stuff. So get in the habit of messaging them and saying, would you mind if are you open to me using that little clip from that? And sometimes if they don't want to be in video, they'll even let you use the audio or transcribe it into a testimonial. But yes, excuse me, testimonial machine, because you're going to need them in your marketing. Thank you for sharing that, Danielle. And congrats. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your name. Tiana?
Yana, yes.
Oh, yay.
Yes.
Hi.
So yes, I just wanted to share and celebrate that today I launched my lead magnet leader blueprints. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And now with this challenge, I'm continuing to build the paid reports, and I created, like, after that lead magnet, I created join the wait list for the long forms just to see kind of what's the interest. And I gave a few different names so I can sense like what is the direction that people are interested in.
I love that. So you'll create it after you've sold it.
Yes.
Yes. That's another thing that I want us to talk about. I've got like so many things on the list. Are you French Canadian?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
No? Oh.
I'm from Serbia originally, but live in US. Yeah.
Your accent just sounded French Canadian for a second. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you for celebrating. Congrats.
Thank
Okay,
you.
anybody else want to jump out live and tell us what's great, what you're celebrating before we go to the chat celebrations? That uncomfortable 7 seconds where everybody's thinking, do I jump out? Do I not jump out? Going once, going twice. Okay, I'm going to read the chat really quickly. Okay, 12 new messages. Okay, so, oh, Jamie, yay, I have my first relationship session scheduled. That's amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. They're so fun. Netta, I started designing and it's so much fun. Lori, I started my website. Yay. Oh, I don't know who this is, but it's not me. I'm wrapping up my first full-length report. PHS is next on the list and it feels amazing. Oh, I love PHS. AI assistant. I'm not as far along as I want to be due to life circumstances, but I celebrate because I haven't given up. Amen, sister. I need to get into this cruising business, Netta is saying. Yes. Imagine the parents that that are thinking they're going to escape their children, and then they get there and you're going to teach them how to raise their children according to their design. Amazing, amazing. Kelly's going on a 9-day cruise this month. This seems to be the theme of the day. Danielle, just in case you didn't see, Davina is asking what's the app that you use? Okay. If I just kept reading, I would see it. What I can celebrate is that since I started, I got my butt moving to get my chart on my site and started thinking about the content I want to include on my site. I also have a free report using Bodygraph chart and had just briefly edited it. Thank you, Bodygraph chart. Perfect for now as I continue on my own content for paid one. Yes, 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 yes. Done is better than perfect, right? My celebration is integrating Bodygraph into my website, and for the first time, emailing my list. Yes, to offer my human design intro reading. I love email. I love, 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 love email. So I love that you're doing that. Amazing. Got 2 alignment sessions booked and celebrate the 21 days. I got a lot done with my report from Claudia. So it's amazing. See, progress, 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 progress. So make sure that you go and answer the Instagram stories. If you're on Instagram, make sure that you answer the Bodygraph chart Instagram story about how much you loved this, because like we would love to push to do more, right? Well, I don't know if anybody else would love to push to do more, but I'd love to push to do more. So now we're going to play a game. It'll take like 1 minute. So if you can go to the chat and get your keyboard ready, if you can type Bodygraph chart and highlight it so that you can copy and paste it. I'm going to just have everybody, if you would like to have continued support in your business, something like this, where we just meet and we work out all of the kinks together and we tap into each other's energy. If you're here for that, I'm going to get you to just keep typing Bodygraph chart in the chat. And I'm going to open up my chat so that I can see how many times can you pop it. There we go. If you really, really, really love this kind of support and you want more of it. And then we'll get to watch on Instagram and see what Lara's going to do with this, because she's like the boss on doing reels and stuff. I'm the person that has to message my kids all the time and say, oh my God, I'm stuck again. Can you help me? Yes, 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 yes. We're having fun with this too. For sure. We're having fun with this. Thank you for doing that. Look at all this. I think that this is a yes, that they want this again, Victoria.
We can do that, sure.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you for participating in that. And then you get to follow along on Instagram and see what she's going to do with it. And then you can do it in your own business when you're doing webinars and things like that. Okay, so affirmations, and then we get down to business of marketing. So everybody ready for the affirmations? We changed them up today. So let's like take a second and get Vicky grounded here for a minute. I will read the affirmation and then leave space for you to say it in your head or aloud, whatever you'd like. It is safe for me to make money doing what I love. It's safe for me to be seen online. It's safe for me to promote my business. I am worthy of an abundant life. What I have to share is of value. Each time I share my offer, I give someone the opportunity to transform their life. My offers are my service to the world. Right now, someone is wishing they could buy exactly my thing to solve their pain. My work serves the expansion of the planet. I sell, I serve. So we'll do them one more time from the top. It is safe for me to make money doing what I love. It's safe for me to be seen online. It's safe for me to promote my business. I am worthy of an abundant life. What I have to share is of value. Each time I share my offer, I give someone the opportunity to transform their life. My offers are my service to the world. Right now, someone is wishing they could buy exactly my thing to solve their pain. My work serves the expansion of the planet. I sell, I serve. Right, let's get to it. This is my favorite thing. Whenever I'm on calls and people say, I know you think selling is gross. I'm like, I love selling. It's so fun. Okay. What do you think of when I say the word marketing? What comes to mind when you, like, I know that some people are saying today they're a little bit excited, but in general, when you hear the word marketing, what happens in your body, or what do you think of? You can unmute or you can put in the chat, whatever you'd like. Ugh. So Trish is both excited and thinking ugh. Teaching. Oh, nice. Sharing a message and an offer. Fun. Oh, yay. Love that, Astrid. A lot of moving parts and a lot of work. Work, being seen. Keep posting on social media algorithm, creating, branding, not doing what I want to be able to do what I want. Yes. Well, maybe we can make you fall in love with it, or maybe we can help you to fall in love with it, and marketing will be actually doing what you want. Visibility. Yes. All of these things, all of these things. What do you think of when you hear the word sales? When somebody says you have to sell, or you're selling your report, what comes up for you? An exchange of value, service, love it. Winning, oh, I love that. Anybody think anything gross or anything like, oh, that makes some kind of blah, throat trapped, potential income, pushy, interesting, pushy, yeah. I don't like it. Validating, I'm very comfortable with the idea. Yeah. And the more you see results coming in, the more comfortable you'll get with it. So if you're someone who said like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this, it does get easier as you go along because you get into a real habit of it. And let me tell you, when you sell that first report from an Instagram story or from a sale on your website or something like that, and then you start selling them on a regular basis, it just becomes a natural part of what you do. And it looks like you look forward to it. Oh, Jamie is saying needing to prove my value. Yeah, interesting. I'm just going to close this out so I don't get too distracted while I'm doing this, okay? So what I want to invite you to start to think about any time that you're feeling stuck with marketing or sales conversations or putting yourself out there, visibility online, I would love to invite you to ask yourself, what is the story that I'm telling myself around blankety blank blank? Because the thing that you're thinking is going to happen when you do the thing is not the thing that's going to happen. It's never the thing that's going to happen, right? We build up all of these things in our heads that could happen, would happen, might happen. What if this happens? What are people going to think? Like, I have a friend who's walking the Camino right now. And like for us, that's a big deal because it's like big flights and all this stuff to go over there. And it's a big feat as well. And yesterday she messaged me and she's like, I'm growing so much on this trip. She's like a badass businesswoman. She's a speaking coach actually. And she was terrified to go pee in the bush because what would people think? She was so afraid to go pee. I better tell her that I told you this story in case you ever cross paths with her. But she's like, I was telling myself this story about what everybody was going to think because I went pee in the bush. And she's like, then it dawned on me, like, they're going to think I'm a normal person. Like nobody. And the other thing is nobody's thinking about you. Like we walk around thinking that everybody's thinking about what we're doing and paying attention to what we're doing and wondering what we're doing. And nobody's thinking about us. Like they're not, they're going on with their own lives, worried about what everybody's thinking about them. So just like take the pressure off of yourself if you possibly can when you're going to do the thing online. So The way I see it, there are, yes, obviously we're going to honor our human designs. We are human design practitioners. So it starts with honoring your human design. But I don't think that any single human design, I've never seen a human design in anyone I've worked with that could sit in their closet in the basement of their house and live by their human design and attract the clients that they want to attract. Like it just doesn't work that way, right? So yes, we honor our design always. And we have to market our businesses. That's the big girl, that's the grown-up world that we live in when we want to market our businesses and make money online or on a cruise ship. So the way that I see it, there are a few places, and please add to them okay, so I'm not a TikTok girl. I'm not going there. I'm not figuring it out, not any of that stuff. So I'm thinking like social media, any kind of social media, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, whatever the kids do these days, all that stuff. Email. I love email. If you're not building an email list, I think we really should do a webinar on that. If you're not building an email list or it's not growing, then we need to look at that. That's what these Bodygraph chart, the lead magnet, the human design chart, and any other lead magnets that you're using are going to be so powerful for. But like imagine, Trish, you're on the cruise ship. How many people are on a cruise ship usually? I have no idea.
Anywhere from like 600 to 6,000, depending on the ship.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So you're on a cruise ship and you give some sort of a presentation and you're featured and there's a presentation, 60 people come to your workshop. How many of those people are going to buy did you call it a blueprint? I can't remember what you called it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, how many people, but if those people came into your ecosystem with a freebie on that cruise ship, if you had a QR code or a link or something on a business card, or I know business cards are passé, but if you had something to lead them in, then you've got maybe 200 of them instead of 6 of them, where you're going to keep communicating, and you're going to love on them and you're going to build them. So I think email list is really, really, really an important piece of marketing, and it's less scary. In my opinion, an email list, it's like, I don't know, it just feels, I love my email list because it feels more personal. But it's not so much like social media where it's your face and everything you're on so much of the time, right? Pinterest. I don't know if you've considered Pinterest yet, but Pinterest is like massive long game for your business. And you can have you can have pins to like anything that exists online of yours. Like if you guest on a podcast, it doesn't even have to be your stuff. If you guest on a podcast, I don't know if that was me, but if it is, I don't know what it meant. If I explode, I hope Victoria can fix it from there. If you guest on a podcast, if you guest blog on somewhere, sales pages, your sales page for your report, whatever you're calling your report, all of that stuff can go on Pinterest. And people that are on Pinterest are planning. So it might not be like a today thing that you get Pinterest engagement, but 3 or 4 months from now. And like the pins that are performing for me right now, the top 2 pins are still always from my direct sales days, like probably 10 or 12 years ago, I pinned those pins and they're still performing best. So like, this is not something that dies. It's not like social media where you're constantly feeding the beast. Anyway, podcast. So a podcast is marketing. Does anybody have a podcast? Oh, Kathy does. Yes. Danielle has one. Oh, cool. Astrid, yay. Pop your podcast in the chat, please. I'll make sure that they get in the PDF document so that we can all have a listen. So podcasting is really powerful, and even being a guest on a podcast. If you don't ever aspire to have your own podcast, that's fine. But being a guest on other people's podcasts is a great form of marketing without going to the podcast and saying, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. Like you can provide so much value by guesting on a podcast. And a hot tip you didn't ask for, give people one place to find you at the end of that podcast interview, please. Or create a lead magnet specifically to that audience. So maybe you have a Bodygraph chart report that's, well, let's say Netta, like she's serving parents. So, I work with parents who blah, 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 and I have this great lead magnet for you, and send them to that one place. Kathy, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I was just curious because I've had a Pinterest account since forever, and it's always been my personal one. And for every other social media, I just have one account, and it hasn't been an issue. But I'm wondering if if I'm going to start doing Pinterest with my business stuff, if I should maybe create a second one, because is it weird that I have all my recipes and things and my, random stuff from when I was doing like style consultations for people? I have like boards that I made for, that sort of thing. Or is that just adding, like in regular social media, I feel like it's good as a sixth line for people to know who I am.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's because Pinterest is navigated so differently, right? It's like people go there to look for things. So is it going to be too complicated if I've got all this mess of stuff for them to look at my boards? Thoughts that you have on that?
Sure. So a few things. One, I was going to say depends on your design. Like my conscious sun is gate 8, so it's important for people to know me. Even though sometimes it makes me uncomfortable as a second line for people to know me, that's what they want. And it's like 6th line, same thing, right? Not same, but you know what I mean. So
8 is my conscious earth.
oh, isn't that cool?
14 is my
14? Oh,
yeah.
and
So I'm uncertain. I'm cross of uncertainty. What are you, contagion?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. I didn't know that. So you can lock down the boards. You can lock down the boards that you don't want to be public. But I personally, I would leave a few like recipes. I mean, everybody uses recipes. I would let people see you in some of the things, but you can lock down some things. You can archive some things. And you're going to want to switch to a business account if you're going to use it for business, because you'll be able to get really cool insights. You can see like where the leads are coming from and where they're going to on your site and all that jazz. But like you could have pins for every single podcast episode that you do.
Okay. Yeah. So you actually pin the episode, and I could do it for both the podcast episode and the YouTube episode, or no? Or would
Yep.
you make like,
Yep.
because, yeah. Okay. So that's cool.
And just to be
All
clear,
right,
I'm
good.
not a Pinterest expert at all but I have tried, like I've dabbled in Pinterest for probably just over 10 years. And I just don't use Pinterest because I'm not a visual learner. So I have a really hard time understanding. So yeah, I have found Megan Williamson is great for the way I learn, to be able to say like, this is actually how you use it. But it is really cool. It's really cool. And you can add to any page that you have online, like your podcast,
Okay.
your YouTube, because I know your podcast goes on Facebook as well. So a pin could go to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when it's on Facebook, it's in a private group, so I can't
Oh,
pin
okay.
that. So it goes live in the private group, and it's there, lives there until late the next day when it comes out as a podcast.
Oh,
So
okay.
it kind of is a little elite thing to be able to be part of the live thing. But
Cool.
yeah.
Very
Okay. Awesome. Thanks. I'll have to look into that. That's on my list of 4,000 things to do.
No kidding. Okay, and then blogging, of course, is one of the other places. That's just what I came up with. You guys might have some other places that you can market. Blogging is making, I don't think it ever really went away, but it's making a massive obviously YouTube. Anything like what I would love for you to consider in your marketing is, we get so concerned about social media. We think social media is marketing. Like we somehow in our brains, we have equated social media with marketing. And there is so much other stuff that we can be doing to build our businesses that lasts a whole lot longer. So you've heard me say it before, if you've been here before, when I post on social media, when I schedule out my social media, I say Mark Zuckerberg works for me, and I release it to the universe. I don't care what the algorithm does. I don't care if you're only supposed to post 3 times, like it doesn't matter. Mark Zuckerberg works for me, and the people who need my stuff are going to see my stuff. And those who don't are going to pass right on by it, because that's how the universe works. But just try not to like box yourself into thinking, I have to get on Instagram, I have to go live, I have to be on Facebook, all of these things, because there's so much other stuff that you can do. If you're not someone who wants to be front and center, focus on the other stuff. Blog like a badass, get on podcasts, guest on other people's podcasts. So if you're looking to guest on podcasts, something that I have learned is, I don't know if you think like this, but a lot of times people come into my world and they think that they want to go on podcasts, and they have a dream to go on like Jenna Zoe's podcast or Manifestation Babes podcast or like any of these, you know, Tony Robbins podcast, that's who they have their goals set on. And it's like, you want to find somebody who's at about the same size in business as you are, and with about the same size of audience, because their chances are so much greater that you're going to cross-pollinate each other's businesses. And when you find like besties in business, it can be the same niche, but it doesn't have to be the same niche at all. Like Lorianne, the speaking coach that I talked about, who now I really have to tell her now, I told her a peace story. But we don't have competing niches. Our niches are very complementary. So, and you guys know I use that word niche very loosely. But they're complementary. So we can do all kinds of things together, and our audiences are almost exactly the same size, and we can like really grow each other's audiences really, really well because they have common interests. So look for some people like that in your space. And somebody asked in the chat, I'm really trying not to get distracted by the chat, but I will go through afterwards. Somebody asked, how easy is it to, or how hard is it to start a podcast? I would say that depends. So like, I'm a manifesting generator, as you know, so I do everything fast, like ridiculously fast. I understand. So I never had a thought of doing, and you guys share that have podcasts, please share in the chat what your experience was as well, or unmute and share. I never had a dream of doing a podcast. And then I went to a mastermind in July, and I don't know, somehow I came out of there responding and deciding I was going to do a podcast. And 6 weeks later, I did like a massive launch with swag and all of the stuff. And 6 weeks later, I had a podcast with 8 episodes that launched. Now, when I listen to my episode 1 through about 30, I'm a little bit horrified. And I guess that's a good thing. But it just depends, right? Some people would be more focused than that. It depends on who you are, right? Maybe you're like super duper duper focused, and you're going to make sure that you cross off all the boxes and do all of the things in a certain order. I'm not ever going to be that person. So I just have to go with me, and you have to go with you. It can take as little or as long as you want. Like, I have a friend right now who just launched a podcast in 5 days. She's like, if I didn't just say that I was going to do this, and I'm like, oh my God, that seems like ridiculous even for me. Like, I couldn't even imagine in 5 days, I'd still be like researching how was I going to hook up my microphone to my computer for this beast or something like that. Right. So, does anybody else want to share about their podcast? How do you, and it wasn't hard. That was the thing that I was going to say. It wasn't hard. I needed a podcast platform. I needed like a microphone, and a set of headphones, and a very good assistant for editing. Astrid, yep.
So when I started my podcast, I think the most work was in the mindset piece of doing the podcast. So showing up, being, having your voice being heard, listening to your own voice while editing. So even the setup of a podcast can only take a couple days. It's I think 80% went into the mindset piece. And then the skills to editing, because I do everything myself. For me, English is not my native language. That's Dutch. So I actually am going to start a Dutch podcast as well, because of course I can easily self-express more, but more in my own language. So for all the English people, it would be like starting a podcast in Spanish, right? So I'm a little bit more heavy on the editing part because it is not my native language. So for me, that's why I take about 8 hours per episodes. So yes, it is a little bit of work, but it is so fun and rewarding. And I'm interviewing guests right now, and that is even more fun because we can talk about human design and responding as a generator, right? So it's really, yeah, I love it. Yeah, love it. So
thank you for sharing. Thank you. Kathy.
Okay, so my podcast story is a little bit unusual because I never went out and just decided I was going to do a podcast. I had this Facebook group that I started having these conversations in that kind of evolved in their own story, and I refer to them as Sunday Story Hour. And it started where I was just talking to people I knew about their human design story. Started with my sister. So the first ones are very raw, but then as more and more people started to listen to them, and I started to get bold enough to, here I am, a projector, and I'm inviting people to do something that felt weird at first, right? But then I really realized that it was the energy that I did the invitations with that was important, right? That I had this thing and I was letting people know that I would like to invite them. And I didn't have an attachment that didn't like feel like I needed that recognition from them to say yes, right? And so the first big person I think I interviewed was Evelyn Levinson from the Empower Projector. And then I interviewed Robin Wynn, who wrote all those good human design books and stuff. So I started doing all these things and people started referring to these conversations as my podcast. And I'm like, well, it's not a podcast. It's just in my private Facebook group, Intuitive Human Design. And they kept calling it a podcast. And then I was like, it's not a podcast. Why do people think it's a podcast? Should it be a podcast? So then by the time I decided that, and enough people said, this should be a podcast, other people need to be able to listen to it. Blah, blah, blah. And I kind of was in this place of like, I had like 20 episodes then that were really, some of them were really gold, right? And I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to release this podcast, what am I going to do with all these other ones? And then I was like, okay, I need to turn all of these into podcasts. And then that was my projector energy was like, no, that's way too much work. And so there was this whole long process of me having to ride my emotional wave and then actually value myself and shut off the thing in my mind that said, how are you going to justify this expense, right? Because this is not something that brings you immediate return on the dollar. But I made a big investment at the very end of last year, and I converted by that point 30 episodes into a podcast and released them over the course of a couple weeks. He did like 5 this day, 5 a couple days later, whatever. And now, because he made it so easy to do that, he actually does my podcast every week. And it's awesome because now I pay this guy to put the podcast up. So when I have the conversation, I then afterwards can put my energy into things like I re-listen to the conversation. I write out when the chapters are going to be, what they're going to be called, and I make the reels. And by the time he does it all on Monday, I've got all this content that I can like attach it to that's all related. And I had to really get over this point where there was the voice in my head before I made the decision to pull the plug and spend that money. Was I had to like calm myself, my nervous system now, because there was this voice saying, who do you think you are? You know, what do you think you're like, Lewis Howes? Is this you think you're going to have a school of greatness? Or, like there was this little bit in my head telling me this. But then I was able to do this reframe because I realized when I really decided to stop playing small and start asking anybody I was interested in and just letting go of the attachment. Not only did I just have a conversation a few weeks ago with Chetan Parkin for like the hour podcast, and like a good 20 minutes after and like a few minutes before, he's agreed to do a follow-up. He charges $1,250 for a reading. Now, granted, I didn't get a reading, but I had a conversation with this guy who charges this much money, and I'm talking to all these people who I would have to spend so much money to have audience with, right? To get in their brains, to hear their stories. And I'm not paying them for that. And it's a different mindset of like, I don't need this to be something that brings me the money. It's bringing me so much joy. And I'm getting so many people say, oh, I just really love listening to these stories, right? And it gives people so much more nuance than if we had a little story about this is how you do this and this is what this means. It's people talking about what it meant in their life and what this energy in their chart means for them, and da da da. And it's just been awesome. And so I am really, oh, thank you, Kim. She said she loves my podcast, but I'm really just embracing and so thankful that I'm able to do this. And I really feel like between the podcast is giving me the exposure, right? And now I'm working on building this fantastic report that, I've given parts of it to people, and they're saying, the people that I've given the parts to look at and stuff are like, oh my God. So I know when it's done, it's going to be and I don't want to compare because that gate 8, as soon as we compare, right, then we're in mediocrity. But it's gonna be my Christy Ing map, right? It's gonna be the thing where people just be like, did you get Kathy's Guide to Radical Self-Trust? You know? And that's gonna be the thing. And so I'm working on that, and I'm supported in the moment. I don't need the money to pay my bills. My husband is able to do that, and I'm going to continue to invest in myself. And then I know this is going to just explode. So I rambled a lot, but that's my podcast story is very part of my passion. So
That's cool. Well, I appreciate you sharing. Thank you. I didn't find you were rambling. I just wanted, before I go to you, Danielle, I just want to, a couple of things here. So if I don't respond now, it's going to be going. If you're on this call and you're thinking about starting a podcast or you're curious about it, just know that it doesn't have to cost a whole lot of money. So that everyone who's going to share about their podcast is going to have had a different experience. My podcast costs very, very little money. And the only thing I do is hit record and do the recording. So I'm just going to give you a couple of tools that you can think about, and you can do your own research on the ones. But Descript is amazing because and I know there are other ones too, okay guys, but like I find my tools and I stick to them so I don't have to figure out tech anymore. So Descript allows you to edit in the actual script. So it gives a transcript as you're recording into the microphone. What is this thing? A microphone. It gives you the script, and then you can go along and actually edit the script just like it's a Word document. You just go along and it takes it's so cool, and you can put studio sound on. So I have even had my little, I'm not going to swear, dog who thinks he's 400 pounds and he's like not. I've had him start barking in the middle of something because he can open the garage door, if you can believe that. And he always does it when I'm in the middle of a podcast that I don't want him to do it for. So I've even been able to take out the sound of him barking through this studio sound. Like it actually sounds like you're in a recording studio, and it's, I don't remember, but like $20 a month or something. So that's an option, but there are other AI type options that you can use. You can also put all of your clips through. There's a gazillion apps now. What's the one I use? Opus Pro. I haven't done some in a while, but you can put if you do it on video, you can put your whole podcast through there to get the clips out. Or Vidyo, Vidyo, will help you get the clips. Kathy's saying she uses that. So I don't watch videos. I'm not a visual learner, so I don't do videos. And I built another whole business on video, but right now I don't know, I'm just not in a video phase. But what I will do is put my phone on my selfie stick beside me, so it's got the side view as I'm recording my podcast. Just because I don't know why. It's just easier for me than trying to look into a blank screen at myself. I just have it there, and then my VA will come along behind and do clips of a bunch of stuff. So like there's all kinds of ways that you can do this. If you don't want to be like front and center and all over social media with talking heads and all of that stuff, you can do little things. You can take voice clips from your podcast. All of the things, and you can spend $1 bazillion and have someone do it for you, or you can do it yourself, like Astrid is putting in all these hours doing it, or you can use some of the tools. So anyway, there's lots of ways, and Danielle's going to tell us another way to do it. Audacity.
Well, I was just going to mention one thing that for me, I realized it was hard for me. The demands of doing it every week on never ending was too much for me. So just for those, if your energy can't support that sort of commitment, you can have seasons. I do seasons now. So there's shorter seasons, and I will tell you, my podcast, I haven't done one in months. I still get listens because it's an ongoing, people, they don't care when you recorded it. If it's good information, they're going to visit it when they search for that topic.
Amen. Thank you for that. And I add seasons in because my weekly, I get bored. It's not enough for me. So I add, like I did a 12-day series at Christmas time. And I just came off of a 5-day series. Okay. So I didn't even know we were going to be talking about podcasts, and I promise I'll talk about other stuff too for marketing. But this just seems to be where we're going. So we'll go here first. So I love Danielle's idea about seasons. So you can release, I think in Karen Curry Parker world, she calls them, I think she calls it a micro podcast, maybe, I can't remember. but you can do, there's no rules. You're the boss of you. You're the boss of your business. So you can totally do a season. Just please, for the love of God, market your season. Market it like a boss. You think when I'm going to say I don't watch TV either. I'm like such a weird person, but like I think 3 years ago, I finally watched Gilmore Girls, but I didn't watch like one show. I watched, how many episodes did they have over all of those years? Manifest. I don't know if you guys have that there, that airplane show. I did watch that. Watch the whole thing. So that's what people are going to do with your podcast too. And that's what people are going to do when you do a series. They're going to listen to the whole thing. So market it, market it, market it. And that's another place that it's really great to have like blog posts and Pinterest and all kinds of other things that lead to that so that it continues to drive traffic. So I'm going to tell you a few things about podcasting since we're here. One of the things is it builds credibility like nothing you will do in your business. Like, have you ever gone to a podcast? Has this been your experience where you go and you binge listen to somebody's podcast and you buy the thing? You can't wait to buy the thing. Is that just me that does that with my 4816? Like constantly. It's just like all of a sudden they know more than anyone else because they have a podcast. They don't know more than anyone else. I don't know more than anyone else. Danielle doesn't know more than anyone else. Kathy doesn't know more than anyone else, but we just have a podcast. So people trust you very, very quickly with a podcast. It is such a great lead magnet. It drives so much traffic in your business. You won't even believe the amount of traffic that it can build in your business. And one of the tricks that I have learned is to use a 72-hour window with your podcast. So you want to get as many assets out into the ethers in that 72-hour window as you possibly can. So 5 is the goal. It could be less, or it could be more, but 5 within that 72 hours, because the podcast algorithm will push it out. So think like, and it's not 5, it's not the same asset placed in 5 different places. Okay, that's lazy repurposing. It's 5 different pieces of content. So it could be a blog post, an email, an Instagram story, an Instagram live. If you're having guests, I was going to use the should word. I'll try not to use the should word. If you're having guests on your podcast, something to consider, I'm trying to get better at this myself, is I should be doing this, is doing IG lives with that guest to promote the podcast. Really great, because their followers get notified and your followers get notified. So you just increased your reach, right? Without even having to do anything different. So lots of assets in that 72-hour window to drive people to your podcast. Another thing you can do if you're not interested in having your own podcast is start looking for opportunities to guest on podcasts. Like there's a lot of, the number one thing that I hear from people why they don't start a podcast is because they're afraid they're going to run out of topic ideas. Obviously they don't have what goes on in this brain, but that is a real thing, right? And think how happy you would be if someone messaged you a really good message, not a creepy, stupid message that we all get. That's they're gonna, but like an actual genuine message. Someone has listened to a couple of episodes of your podcast. They know they can contribute something to your podcast for your listeners, and they're asking for a guest opportunity. Like that is gold, because that is somebody like helping you to build your content bank. So don't be afraid to like sell yourself to other podcasters as a guest. And I have found in my clients' world that it has helped, especially people with an undefined throat or an undefined sacral. They're like, I don't want to do this all the time. So, I mean, there was somebody at PodFest this year and he guests on, I think, 150 podcasts a year. Now, to me, that's worse than having your own podcast. But his whole strategy for growing his business is, I'll put it in the group. His name is Dustin, something that starts with R. But his whole strategy is guesting on podcasts to build his business. So just don't underestimate podcasts and use good SEO. Because like Danielle said, people are searching, right? And human design, you may think that it is a saturated market, but it is like the smallest drop in the bucket of all of the information out there on the planet. There are so many people looking for human design and not much information in the ethers. So you have a really good opportunity with your human design business to get your butt in gear and get out there. Okay. Who knew that lecture was coming? So, yeah, okay. anything come up for you around that? Let's just pause here for a second and make sure we don't like gloss over it. If there's something else that somebody wants to contribute or to ask about with podcasts. SEO webinar. Yeah, I'm put it on the list. Yeah. Yeah. Astrid. Yeah.
Responding to SEO, if you think about Spotify as a very big search engine, the nice thing about Spotify is that they actually tell you how their algorithm works.
Oh, wow.
So if you go, so for Google, I mean, it's always been, how does it work? How does it work? But actually, Spotify just lays it out for you. So if you're thinking about creating a name for your podcast, don't ever start with just start with the first word that you want people to find it. That's why I changed my podcast name for my brand name, Palm Tree Moments, to Travel and Work with Human Design, because travel is the first piece that they're actually searching for. So when you're doing your homework for your podcast, if you Google Spotify algorithm on their own website, they just explain everything about how their algorithm works. So think about that when you're preparing for that.
That is amazing. Amazing. And you could use Spotify almost to check your SEO as well. Like, what are people looking for? What are people searching for? That's amazing. I'm so glad you shared that. Thank you. Danielle, you had your hand up. No? Did I dream that?
I did, but I put it down. But I just wanted to mention, don't be afraid to put your profile type in your bio on your podcast. I have found a human design, someone helped me with my branding, and I picked her because she was the same profile. She was a 5/1. And I wanted someone who understood the experience. And so just make sure you put that, because I literally searched 5/1 human design 5/1 branding, and she was the only one. And so I went with her. It's great.
That's amazing. It's like it's the whole fifth line profiles needing a support group thing that we talked about on Tuesday, where you yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, the trauma. Okay. So moving on, we should actually talk about social media a little bit. So I'm just trying to gather my thoughts here. Just give me a second. So one of the things that I would love to invite you to think about in your content is allowing people to self-identify. So I think sometimes we think we have to like tell people our solution all the time, and we don't always have to tell people the solution. And I mean, I've said this on every call, but I'm going to say it again. Like, you have to know where your customer is. Who is your customer? I'm going to say that this is a report that we're selling because this is what we're talking about in this experience. Who is this report for? If it's for people who are really super duper familiar with human design, please don't tell them what an undefined sacral needs. However, if it's someone who has no idea what a sacral center is, you're going to have to tell them why that matters to them. And so there can be like a resistance to speaking about pain points, but we know that people will do more to move away from pain than they will to move into pleasure. That's just the way that human nature is. And I've had people say to me, like, I don't want to be accusing people of having these things go wrong. So instead of saying like, I know how it is for you. You've always been told you're lazy. You couldn't keep up to your sisters and brothers, you this, you that, the other thing. You just say, you can say things like maybe or perhaps. Maybe you feel like, or maybe you wonder, like, was there something wrong with you that you just couldn't get as much done as everyone else? And so you have people like self-identify that they need the solution that you have. So you don't have to talk like problem, but you want people to be like, oh my God, she has something for me, or he has something for me. So think about that in your content. Someone really good to follow for this, she's good to follow for a lot of reasons, but she's really good at self-identifying content, is the holistic psychologist. Does anybody follow her? She's absolutely incredible. Her content is like dialed in. Okay. And remember that you want to be talking, we need to be talking about our offers all the time when you want to sell them. So I was thinking of, I have a birthday coming up this month. If anybody would like to start saving now, there's still time. No. I love birthdays. I freaking love birthdays. So, why was I telling you that? Oh, I was going to do a birthday sale. I always do like something fun for my customers. And I was going to do a birthday sale. And of course, manifesting generator style, I had all these big visions of like what I was going to do and how many things that I was going to, oh, happy birthday, Trish. All these things that I was going to do. And then I had to kind of like dial it back. Because I was like, I don't really want to sell all of that stuff the days around my birthday and have to work that hard, right? So, I mean, it's fine with your reports because they're already done for the most part. They're already done. Like mine, I have to put the incarnation crosses in, but I had to like sit with and think, do I really want to do mini audio readings? What if I sell like 40 of these mini audio readings at this price? Do I want to be in a room doing mini audio readings? No, but your reports, it's different. So when you want to sell them, you need to be talking about them because people are going to forget about them very, very quickly. So you think, or perhaps you think that you're getting, people are getting tired of your message and that, oh my God, I talked about this report 6 times already this month. I can't talk about this report anymore. They don't know that you talked about it 6 times this month. If you're lucky, they saw it once this month. So you have to make it, I invite you to make it part of your everyday conversation. If you're on social media, stories are where you hustle and your feed is where you show your heart. So stories are the hustle, your feed is your heart. Yes, you can sell from your feed. You can talk about your offers in your feed, but in my opinion, in my experience, you don't want your feed to be sell, 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 sell. You can totally lead people there. Talk about your, I keep wanting to say manuscript because that's what mine is called. Talk about your report, but your story, you can get away with like all day long there. So you could have a regular weekly, on your agenda that every day, every week on Fridays, I'm going to talk about my report. And next Friday, I'm going to do a live video in my stories about it. And the Friday after that, I think you could do it more than once a week easily. But the Friday after that, I'm going to have like, so what I have with any offer that I have, like a container that I have, a course that I have, I do story templates for it. So I break down my sales page in story templates and I tell the story of the sale in my stories. So you can do that with your report. Like, who's this for? So like Kathy, I'm going to just call your mother load of a report here. So you could go in and you could show pictures of your report. Like you could show a video of you going through all of the pages if you printed one out, or going through I did that on my computer actually too, was like going through the whole report on my computer. And then break it down, like, who's this for? What are they going to get out of it? What are they going to get out of it is not, or what they're going to get out of it is not 66 pages about your human design, your defined centers, your profile, your blah, 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 blah. No. So you want to think of benefits and not features. So why does all of that matter? Why does it matter that they're going to get 66 pages about their human design or 120 pages about their human design? Why does it matter that they're going to know what their incarnation cross is? What's it going to do for her? I'm just going to say that she understands that she has a defined will. Like, how is that going to change her life? So start to think when you're communicating things in your business, what does it mean for that person? Your perfect fit client, what is going to change in her life because she has this report that you created? I'm just checking the chat here for a second because I saw the word algorithm. Yes, absolutely. So Lori is saying, there's an algorithm about how often you share mixed with personal stories, hobbies, and other things. So it's not just sell, sell, sell. Absolutely. Yeah. You're not going to go on and just like sell, 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 sell all day long. And you can choose a day to just sell all day long. Like, you can let people know it's coming. Like, I have started on my stories to let people know that there's a birthday sale coming. I have asked you guys for 21 days to get in your stories and tell people that you're building something really incredible that's going to change their life. You could even do in your social media. Does anybody here love live coaching? Sorry, did you say yes, Kathy? I looked away. So people are like,
Oh, I was like, I don't know if I don't know if I'd call what I do coaching, but I love doing the live transformative delivery of insights, that sort of thing.
yeah. So something else that you could consider is doing a day of Voxer coaching. If you have Voxer, a day of Voxer coaching, a day of access to me, an hour of coaching on Voxer that's usually X number of dollars. Or, you buy your report and you get an extra 15 minutes with me through Messenger or something like that. Like there's all kinds of things that we can do to think outside of the box and build our businesses differently. Because one of the things that I have heard come up a few times in this community is that I'm afraid that my report is going to make me the same as every other human design practitioner. And I don't think that our reports could ever make us the same as any other human design practitioner, because you're going to put your own spin on it. Like you're going to bring your own thing to it, and you can bring your own thing in the way that you're communicating your benefits, the benefits of your report and all that stuff. So start to really think about your report is in the middle, your person is here, and where they want to be is here. What is this that your report does? What gap is it bridging for them? And that's what you're going to talk about. How your report is bridging the gap, how your report is taking that person from point A to point B, what they're going to really get out of it. That's what you want to be focusing on in your marketing. Does that make sense? And it depends on what this does for you, but I've said this before in this space. I'm not someone who follows a lot of human design accounts. So I'm going to invite you to, I'll go to the chat, Kathy, because I see you asking that. I'm going to invite you to unfollow anyone who you feel paralyzed by comparison when you see their stuff. Anyone and everyone on your feed who does not make you feel like you are the bomb needs to come off of your feed, because that is going to keep you stuck not doing your own marketing, because you're looking at someone else and thinking, oh my God, I can't do it as well as they do, or oh my God, they're so good at this, or they're so good at that. So you don't need that. And the other thing that I think that it does when we follow like tons and tons and tons, especially in the human design space, we follow tons and tons of people in our space, is that we think that it's saturated. And we have this feeling like everybody knows what we know. And your people, that's not your people. They're not the people who are, I mean, it's fun if there's human design people who really feed your interest, or, like I have a few people that I follow for my family interest and stuff like that. I'm not saying don't follow anyone, but just really make it people who inspire you and who you can still feel like a badass when you see their stuff, because we don't want you feeling like paralyzed and not able to put yourself out there. Okay, I'm going to read the chat because I saw a couple things there that I was supposed to address. And Angela, yes.
Hi, okay, thank you for this. I just wanted to ask, I haven't finished my report yet, and I would love to have a Mother's Day offer. Feel like I'm being pulled to do that for the month of May. And I heard that you said that you sold yours before finishing. Can you share more on that?
Yes, sure. So now again, honor your own human design. We know that that's why we're here. But when I don't really coach, I do more consulting work. But so when I consult with someone, I'm never going to have them build something before they've sold it. Like, I don't think it's been years since I have created something and then sold it, for a few reasons. One, we don't know if the thing that we have is actually the thing that our people want until they validate it by buying the offer. Now, it might be a little bit different with a report, but I mean, holy cow, some of these reports are taking hours and hours and hours, right? Because we have so much content that we want to put in there. So what I would do to sell something before you have created it is like have a basic idea of what you want, but then you're a Manny Jen. Oh, perfect. Okay. So not that manifesting generators are perfect, just that it was perfect that I could play with her in this way. So you can start doing like polls and questions and all of these things in your stories and asking people what they want. And what you're basically doing is you're guiding them down the path. So you're asking them questions that lead them to be like, I want that report when it comes out, even though you might never talk about the report. But you could say things like, what's your niche? What's your report about, Angela?
So, mamas with kiddos and how to, really um, have a more peace of mind raising children based off of their human design.
Okay. So are you open to feedback?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say a generalization. So I'm sure somebody sometime has bought it, but people don't buy things for more peace of mind. So
Okay.
you got to get nittier and grittier than that. So if she has more peace of mind, what does that mean in her everyday life?
She's not stressed. She's not exhausted. Um, she feels like she's doing the right thing.
And then what's different in her life because she feels less stressed and less exhausted and feels like she's doing the right thing? What's different in her day?
She gets, I guess she gets more, I'm sorry, because it's hard for me to
Okay.
be on the spot like this. So,
Yeah, it's okay.
she gets more done for herself. She has for herself, for her family, the day runs more smoothly.
Mhm.
She has more, I don't know, her thought process is more clear.
Okay. And what can she do when she can think clearly?
Like specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the one thing that comes to mind is she's not snappy. She can wash the dishes, she can cook, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so this is the things that I do.
Yeah.
She can organize, clean, take more time for herself.
Okay. So what I'm going to invite you to do on that's great. Thank you for playing with me because I know it's hard to be on the spot. What I'm going to invite you to do is just keep going down that rabbit hole. Keep going further. And I think you're really onto something when you say she's going to be less snappy because the stay-at-home moms that I see, both my daughters are stay-at-home moms. And I know that they feel absolutely horrible when they snap at their kids, when the day doesn't go as smoothly as it would, because like it's not usually because the dishes aren't done. It's because the whole pile of stuff is around them and they can't regulate their own nervous system to help regulate their kids' nervous systems. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I would just keep going deeper because it's not about the peace of mind. It's about what is different in her life because she has peace of mind. How can she show up better for herself and for her family because she has that peace of mind? That is what you are actually doing. So just like go deep in that kind of content. So in your stories, like do you use social media?
Yeah, I'm starting to use Instagram and creating YouTube videos.
Oh, cool. Okay. Like YouTube is so awesome because it's SEO, right? It's long game, it's search engine. So the reason that I push you guys for stories is because, and I know we're probably going long here. Oh, I'm sorry. We're probably going to be like 10 more minutes. I'm sorry. I know this is longer. The reason that I push for stories is because it's a really easy place to start with your social media. So when I used to have like I don't know 5,000 or 6,000 people on Facebook, and I intentionally moved away from Facebook when I changed from holistic health into human design. First, I added holistic health, and then I changed. And there was a lot going on in 2020. I don't know if you noticed that at all in the world, but there was a lot going on in 2020, and I kind of pivoted away from Facebook, and I went intentionally into Instagram because I could be I could be a different version of my brand there. And stories were less scary for me because I knew that they were going to be gone in 24 hours. So it's like, what is the worst that could happen in 24 hours if only my followers see my stories? What is the absolute worst thing that could happen in 24 hours? Because I was feeling like a little bit like judged and like a lot of kind of trauma around some visibility things. So getting in my stories was a little bit easier. So that's why I say for stories first. Yes, because they're the hustle. They let your people get to know you. They let people go behind the curtain with you. That's what they want to see. And also it's less scary for you because you don't have to think about, oh my God, 2 years from now, this is going to be on here. And what am I going to think of what I did here? Because it's going to be gone. So in your stories, Angela, you could be doing like, if you ever let your dishes pile up, you could be doing like a picture of an overloaded sink of dishes. But you know, maybe if you don't want to show your kids' faces, the backs of your children where they are playing peacefully, or you know, you're reading them a story or something like that. It's like, this doesn't matter. This is what matters. And understanding my kids' human design and understanding that my whatever my generator child needs to have this time, or you know, whatever it is for you. I just pulled generator out of my hat, but you can do like little things like that in your stories that kind of sort of lead to your report, but don't say buy my report when it's ready. You can do like case studies on a child without naming the child. You could do a case study like there's this child that I worked with, or this mom that I'm working with, and this is what's happening. Would you love to know this? What's the greatest struggle that you have around managing your day-to-day life while you have kids underfoot? Or do you ever have a hard time staying in the moment with your family when all of this other stuff is piling up around you? Like there's all kinds of things like that that you could do. And so you're guiding them to this report, but you're never mentioning that there's a report, but they're just kind of buying in. So what you're doing is giving them lots of opportunities to say yes all the way along the way. So when you do a poll, you know, how much do you wish that you knew the inner workings of your child? It's not yes or no. It's, you know, 100%, 1,000%, or 5,000%. It's like you're giving them all these ways that they can say yes. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
wordy.
does.
Oh my God.
No, thank you so much.
And then when you go to sell it, so you have primed your audience. Basically, you're priming the pump. You're always, always, always priming the pump. And then you sell it and you let them know that there will be, you know, give them like, so my report's ready in 7 days. Oftentimes it's ready in 2 days, but it's ready in 7 days. So when I first did them, I think it was 3 days then, and that was a hustle. To get 14 ready in 3 days was a hustle. I had almost the whole report built. I still do the incarnation crosses as I go because they're not all in there yet. Like the thought of me sitting down and doing 192 incarnation crosses is like, oh my God, like that's not going to happen all at once. But I can be in response. And the other thing that I love about doing the incarnation crosses live is that I can feel into that person's energy who bought the report and do their cross with them. So that's kind of cool as well. So I would say have like the shell. Now I lost you. Oh, there you are. Have the shell of your report so that you have something kind of in your head and some of the content there, but you can completely like sell, you know, 5 or 6 of them and then finish creating them. And I think it's a good way to use your time. And I mean, you're probably fast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do things quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that
Thank you
helpful?
so much.
You're welcome.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Kathy gave you a that would be such a fun reel to do. She doesn't need to be hiding in the bathroom with a bottle of wine, the mom. She can be present, yeah, not as triggered. Do you feel more of your business is on Facebook or IG? Okay, so Kathy's asking me this just for the replay. My people are still on Facebook and I'm playing on Instagram. Like a lot of my people are on Instagram now, but I have like, my coach is always like, oh my God, woman, get back on Facebook. And I am kind of a little bit because I'm in the Bodygraph chart group and I know that there's something there for me to explore, but I'm not there today. I still have a lot of like ick around it, but I know, I mean, it's still it's ridiculous that I'm not there. So he tells me, but I'm like, that's okay. I like, and I don't consume, I really try not to consume social media. It's not that I never do, but if I miss your stories, please forgive me because I don't watch stories at all. Even though I preach them and I don't watch stories, I don't consume social media. I go on, I do my messages, I do my stories, I do what I have to do for Bodygraph chart, and I get the heck out. It's a tool for my business. Like I use social media to grow my business. I don't use social media to spend my time, if that makes sense. And that was a lot of eyes. It didn't mean to be the eye show. Sorry about that. Jamie, hey. Oh, sorry, Kathy.
Sorry.
I passed right over
Oh.
you. I was reading your chat. Sorry.
Yeah, Kathy can go if you want. I just had a quick question to clarify for my understanding. It sounds like your report isn't automatically sent, that you get an order and then you take care of it that way.
Yeah.
Can they be automatic?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think
Thank
almost
you.
everybody else's are automatic.
Okay.
I think.
Just wanted clarification on that. So
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. You look exactly like someone in my world. And every time I see your face when you start on a webinar, I'm like, oh, it's Gina. And like,
Yeah,
oh, that's not Gina.
I hear that a lot. That's
Oh, yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Similar face. Yeah.
Yeah. Kathy, sorry about that.
That's okay. My question actually piggybacks on Jamie's because I'm really curious how I can unautomate mine, but still automate it. Like, use the software to run it, but not have it be instantaneous like that. And I guess you manually go in and run it yourself and then send it to them. Is that what you're doing? Like you sell the product as a listing in your shop, and then when they buy it, you go and run it to complete it?
Yeah, I have an email that goes out and asks them for their birth information, like an automated email, and then I run it in the system and send them the report. And that, like, okay, so yes, there is so much value in having the automated reports. I think it's absolutely amazing. And yes, it's great to be hands off on all of those things. And as a consumer, there's a piece of me that values something a little bit more when I have to wait for it. Because like we all
Ooh, it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's the anticipation, right?
Yeah. And it feels more like you did it maybe than the computer did it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And it's not that there's anything wrong with people understanding that the computer did it. I mean, we all know the online business world, right? So there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But for me, this just felt a little bit better for my brand. And it also let me away with not doing the incarnation crosses all at once and getting my report sold. I get like efficiency, right? Efficiency.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm totally thinking what I'm doing because I like that idea. And I think because when my Mac Daddy report is finished, ultimately, like I've kind of decided I'm going to do a big report and release it. And then I'm going to copy it and I'm going to add more to it. So eventually it will have the incarnation cross and some things that are even deeper. Like it'll basically be everything you need to know at some point. Like I'll do it in phases. Then after I do that, then maybe I'll do another one that includes all that and your PHS and stuff like that, when I feel like I'm at that point. But I like the idea of when it, as like at some point making them be that, because then you can add your personalized notes and stuff too, even if you wanted to. Okay, cool.
And
I just need to find someone to do all the like the shop. Like I still haven't figured out how to make my shop look like my website, and I am a visual person, and so that's like a thing for me. It's like, oh well, yeah, I can link this to my website, but it doesn't look like my website, and I don't know how to make it look like on Squarespace. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I could probably create a shop in Squarespace and then just have it linked to, when you click on it, it goes to the product pages. But if you're saying I can do it this way, then I can just create a shop on Squarespace, and when they buy it, I can run the reports and send it to them. But there's some things I still want to have be automated and be available in my shop. So I don't know. I haven't figured all that out.
100%. So Vic, I know
Yeah.
there's a tech question here for Victoria, so
Yeah.
maybe she can chime in on that one as well. And don't use my tech examples, please, because I break all of the rules and all of the things. But mine goes through Thrivecart and Stripe is how I do mine. But I do have a page on my, I have a landing page. So what's your email system, Kathy?
I use ConvertKit.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, you could do a landing page in there too, if you wanted to in the meantime.
There's so much that I know I can do, but I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And I get so like I want to learn all these things and not just pay someone how to do them. And I just don't want to pay all that too, because I want to be able to do it in the future, but I almost want someone to do it for me and then show me what they did so that I can do it the next time. And I would love if, yeah, Jamie says, can we have a class on this part? That's hard though, because so much of it is dependent on what program, what you're using, right? But I would love it if there were maybe resources of people who will help you, even if we have to pay them. Like, I'd love to know who knows how to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
for sure. Yeah. And so if you guys have ideas for things that you want webinars with me on, or with anyone, actually, if you send them through to the support chat, then we'll have them all in one place. I do keep random thoughts and ideas, but if there are some things specifically, just send them in and we'll make sure that we get them on the agenda. Victoria, do you happen to be available to be able to answer a question for us? I know it's late. Okay, thank you. So someone is asking, is it possible to delay the automatic report delivery with the WooCommerce as payment method for the reports?
Yes, it is. So you can do not the there is an option to either do automate order complete, or it can be manual complete. So that means when order goes through, you have a chance to check if the email input is correct, the date of birth of the person is correct, if you know the details of the person. You cannot though open the report itself, but if you have the WooCommerce and your business built on the WordPress, then you can probably use the plugins and go impersonate your customers' accounts if you allow such an option on your website, where you will be able to download to actually see their submissions, their charts, their reports as well. But yeah, there is an option to actually, which will allow you to delay the report delivery for the customer, and you will go in WooCommerce orders section and you will have to change the status from pending to complete for it to actually be delivered.
Thank you. I know it's getting really late for Victoria. Sorry about this, you guys. I'll just answer this one more. There's two more questions I'll answer. And then and then I'll go through the chat. So I probably won't go through the chat for a couple of days because right after this call, I'm going to pick up my grandkids and then they're staying overnight. And then as soon as they go home, we are heading for Myrtle Beach. So I will take work with me though. But just so you know, it's probably going to be Saturday before I can get my the PDF ready for you. And there's a lot of questions in this one. So sometimes it's 19 pages, our chats. So that's kind of crazy. Okay, for a sale, do you recommend sending a free extra like channels or the travel report once the main report is purchased? Trish, are you open to coming out and talking about this?
Yes, I just was thinking of maybe like a promotional thing to try and get people, but you always say that don't give anything away. So I was just kind of wondering what you think about that.
Okay. So to be clear, it's not don't give anything away. Like I give a ton of free content in my world, but it's intentional. And I like to be in the room with people. So like a lot of times you'll see me on my stories doing trainings and stuff like that. So it's not, don't ever give anything away. But the reason I asked you if you would come out to talk to me about this is because I'm wondering why you feel like it's necessary to give more. Just because I think that's something that we kind of trap ourselves in. Like it's another way, it can be a way that we think, oh wait, there's more. It's really worth it. It's really worth it. You know, like buy my thing. I need to give you more. I need to give you more. Like just really understand and stand in the fact that the thing that you're offering is worthy of the money that you're receiving, the energetic exchange, and that it will help someone to get the transformation that they need to have without you having to do anything extra unless you really want to do that.
Right, right. Yeah, I guess I'm just asking because I haven't made any sales yet, but I haven't really pushed the marketing yet either.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is your report?
Sorry, hold on.
Yep.
There was a horrible noise. I don't know if you guys heard it. If you did, I'm sorry.
No.
So, I've created the big blueprint that's got all the information. And then, I have the birthday month too. So I was thinking, in honor of birthday, and May is like this amazing month. It's astrologically. And, I just thought I'd like hype it up, purchase the blueprint and, receive a free, probably not gates and channels, but my little travel report is a report where you have to have some background, or you have to know about your strategy and authority and have an understanding of that anyway. So I thought, well, I'll add this travel report on top of it for the month of May only.
Okay. Okay. And how
My
much?
idea of marketing, not from a
No. It's good. How much is your report?
I have an introductory that word,
Yeah.
price of $47 right now, and I was gonna move it up to 57 after the end of May.
Okay.
It's about 60, depending on your the person. It's anywhere from like 62 to 65 or 6 pages.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things that you could do. If you want to do that as a birthday thing, I fully support that. Not that you need my support, but if you want to do that as a birthday thing, what day is your birthday?
The 27th.
Okay, so you've got lots of time. So what I would invite you to do is to get into your stories and start talking about the astrologically what's going on for May. Like make people want that free thing so much that they buy the paid thing to get the free thing. So you can train them. You can give all kinds of free content about the like however you're going to talk about it. I don't know how you talk about it, but whatever kind of transits or astrological events that are happening, talk about that lots and talk about it in a way that how this might be showing up in your life, what you might be noticing in your life, how this might feel in your body, what could happen today when you go out to the market, or however you want to talk about it. I would do that. And then talking about, because your people, if I'm remembering correctly, are new to human design, right? Your customers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you really got to talk about what the advantages of knowing their human design for the next 25 days. So break it down for real life, like give them tons and tons and tons of real life. If you're going to be doing, I think you're Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So say like 1 post a day or 4 posts a week, whatever it is that you can commit to, where you're going to break down like little pieces, but the benefit of knowing that thing, not you have a defined sacral, so you need to move your body, or you have a defined sacral, so you need to respond. It's like, what does that actually mean to me? Because if your people are brand new to human design, that language means nothing to them. So how can you help them to know that they need to get this thing? And then in say half of your posts, a third to half of your posts, I've got something. Oh, my Mac is going to die. I've got something coming. Jeepers, Vicky. I've got something coming later this month. Sorry, you guys. Oh my God. Hold on a second. I've got something later this month that's going to help you with this. Stay tuned. It's going to help you master this in your life. It's going to help you get the rest you need. It's going to help you understand what your body needs in order to sleep well, eat well, like whatever it is that you're covering in your report. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. And would this be better live or like little snippets of information printed? I kind of do both.
You mean on Instagram?
Yeah.
I would mix it up. So a live video and stories are going to go to your own followers.
Uh-huh.
And then reels are going to go to grow your account.
Okay.
So I would mix it up. I would do a little bit of everything. Like well, I'm a 2-4, right? So I love talking to my people in my stories. And it's also, I guess it's probably comfortable. So there's probably something there for me in that. And I don't have to like struggle with the making of the reel and the moving the thing and all of that stuff. But yeah, find your groove, find out, experiment with everything and find out what you like. And something that could be really helpful is like just to make a plan for the 25 days. You don't have to go further than that. Just like for the next 25 days, what does this look like? What am I going to commit to? And then just start getting it ready.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
And like you're a third line too, so you're going to have to play with it, right? You're going to find what works right for you, what works well for you.
Yeah, if I can stop, thinking I have to learn absolutely everything first.
No, learn it as you go. Learn it as you go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Having yours on how to get the reports. Okay, good. Okay, I think I know I didn't get through all the questions, but does anybody have anything that's in the room right now? And we'll handle the chat monster in a couple of days. All good? I really appreciate you guys being here. Like for real, for real, for real. It's like, it's been so much fun. I could do this all day long. Obviously, we're still here an hour and a half later. So thanks for hanging out with me for the 21 days. And yes, we would absolutely love to continue with some form of support. So go and answer the poll in the Instagram stories. Maybe we'll do another one tomorrow to see if we can get something happening for you, and watch to see what Lara does with our like Bodygraph chart thing there, because I think it's going to be cool. All right. Happy selling and marketing. Have a great afternoon, you guys.